giving him some experience. He's coming off that loss. But we got Adrian Clark on the show. What's going on, Adrian? I'm glad you jumped on. I
Uh,
was making these people wait for later on this afternoon, but I'm glad you jumped on so we could get it out before anyone else does. So you are the manager of Brian Norman Jr.
Joe,
and many
Joe,
others.
Joe, Jolene Mazzone is the manager of Brian Norman Jr. I'm the CEO of Fighters First Management. Just to clarify.
You are the CEO of Fighters First, and you work with Brian Norman, Senior and Junior. And you just notified me that you did receive an offer to face Boots Ennis in Philadelphia for a
Yeah, well,
unification fight.
I'm confused. I saw an interview that he did earlier. Norman Senior sent it to me, and he's saying that we turned down the fight, and I'm just and as you know me, I don't mind interviews talking about projects or whatever, but talking about the details of fights is not something that I do. But I was confused on why he would say that we turned down the fight and we're still in the middle of negotiations. I know Norman Jr. and Senior both feel a way about that because again, they sent the offer, I believe, Friday or something of that nature. We countered back and we're waiting to hear for a counter. And the first thing that we hear is Jaron Ennis saying that we turned down the fight when we've never said no from our end. To my knowledge, we are still in negotiations for the fight. So sometimes I just wish that guys would just stay off of, especially the fighters. Like let the fans talk about who's doing what. But for him to say that we turned down a fight that we're still in negotiations for, like come on, man, like stay off of stay off of the internet and interviews until things are done.
But from what you and I have been discussing, it sounds like you guys are totally willing to go to Philadelphia and have Brian face Boots in his hometown.
I mean, we went to we went to San Diego and fought Santiago in his hometown. It's something that, again, we work for Brian Norman Jr. So we fill the offers as his representatives and we give our opinions or our feelings, our thoughts, our expertise on things. But Brian Norman Jr. and Brian Norman Sr. make the final decision on things. And Jr. wants to run it with whoever has a belt. From our standpoint, of course, the money has to make sense because yeah, we are going to Philly or whatever. If that even happens, I don't know what's going to happen now that he's put out that the fight is not going to happen. But Brian Norman Jr. is going to fight anybody, anywhere. It doesn't matter what city or state or country. Like he wants to fight, he wants to unify. So that's what it is.
What was the potential date? Because I know that Boots had a rumored November return, and so does Norman. He's rumored to be returning in Norfolk.
And with that, that's not my place to talk about the detailed dates and numbers and stuff of that nature. There was an offer sent. That was what I told you in the text. Like I don't know why he's saying that we said no to the fight. There was an offer that sent, and we're supposed to be in the middle of negotiations. So to put something out there that's false, that Brian didn't take the fight or we didn't accept the fight, that's false. We're in the middle of negotiations. Now, if he had a relationship, whether with his management or with his promotion or his team, he would have known that, all right, we're still in negotiations, so I can't really speak on that, but no one turned down anything.
so is this something that makes you guys now go back over to their side to see what's going on, like to kind of dig a little and be like, what is this still happening?
By my account, not to interrupt your question, but by my account, Jolene is the best manager in the sport of boxing. She's the one that knows the promotional space better than any other boxing manager because she comes from the promotional space, being a matchmaker for almost 25 years. So Jolene is going to handle this accordingly, and then Brian is with Top Rank. So I mean, there's a negotiation process that goes on that has to be through and through on both sides, and both sides have to come to an agreement. I know the fans they want to see the fight. They don't want the business to get in the way, but it's people like myself, people like Jolene, and and other people that are in between that get in the way of certain things happening because business wise, man, it has to make sense. You just can't throwing the gloves and just getting the ring for whatever, wherever, with whoever. It has to make sense on both sides. So that's where we're at. And Jolene is going to do what she does and make sure that things go right. And it's on them at this point. Their client was the one that came out and said that we turned down a fight that we didn't turn down. So, yeah.
I mean, how confident are you can get it over the line for the potential date that was sent originally in the contract?
Well, I mean, now, hell, I don't, I honestly can't answer that question, man. Like Brian wants to fight, so Jolene's going to do her job to look to make the fight happen and do what makes sense. But at this point, if things don't go down, it ain't on Brian Norman Jr. It ain't on Brian Norman Sr. It ain't on Jolene Mazzone. It's on their side if something doesn't go down. But the truism of it is they both are going to fight, whether it's this year or next year. They're going to fight, and this really helps spin and heightens everything. Now that he comes out and says something that's false, I'm pretty sure Brian is going to either talk to y'all or talk to somebody else about him not turning down whatever, and he's ready to fight. So it gets the wheels spinning, but negotiations are tricky in any sport, whether it's basketball, football, or boxing. Things are tricky, and things could die out or could build up based off of anything happening. So I just hope, after this, everyone can kind of just go to their corners and let their teams work and see if we can get this done. So I got respect for every fighter that steps in, but don't talk what you don't know. Like there was no Brian didn't turn down no fight.
Again, I don't want any details. Just trying to figure out a way you can answer this. Was there a venue in place? And I only ask because he being Boots did 14,100 people. That's a lot of people cheering against Brian Norman. So this is also a unification. So will there be a bigger venue? I don't need you to give me the location, but is it we going back to where he just fought, or it's a bigger venue because it's a unification bout and it means more tickets will be sold?
I can't answer that because again, they sent an offer on, do you guys want to fight Jaron Ennis? Do you want to fight Jaron Ennis? And of course, a dollar amount behind it. And Brian said he wanted to run it, but negotiations had to happen. So it's like preliminary stages of negotiating. We didn't go into deep detail on it's going to be here on this date, and what I'm saying, with this, we didn't go into that deep. It's just a preliminary offer of want to take the fight or not, and it's something that Brian wanted to do.
Well, those are all the questions, Adrian. Let me get Brian on before my next interview. I got Angelo Leo scheduled in a bit. But if there's anything you want to add in closing, please do. If not, any social media or at least the company's Fighters First.
Go pick up the book, the second edition of Protect Yourself at All Times. Go pick up the book on Amazon, and the audio book will be available on Audible. Any fighter, any father, anyone that's in the business side of boxing that wants to know about the background of the business that we're in, that want to get some tidbits on paying your taxes, planning for retirement, knowing what you're signing, things of that nature, man. Protect Yourself at All Times. Second edition is out on Amazon and will be available on Audible soon. So definitely go pick that up to learn about the business and how you should move in business.
Absolutely. Definitely a lot of people need that. They be getting into some strange contracts. But Adrian, thank you so much. Stick around,
Always.
ladies and gentlemen. We are about to get